Let's be honest for a second. When most people think about moving to Southern Europe or even just dreaming about it from a gray, overpriced apartment somewhere, the same names come up every single time: Barcelona, Lisbon, Rome, Santorini. And look, those places are beautiful. Nobody's going to argue that. But here's the thing. The version of Southern Europe you see on Instagram, with the influencers on the terraces and the $1 million sunset shot, that's not the whole story. Not even close. The Southern Europe, the one where locals have been living quietly extraordinary lives for generations, doesn't usually make it onto the mood board. It doesn't trend. It doesn't have a hashtag with 50 million posts. But it does have cobblestone streets that aren't overrun with selfie sticks. It has restaurants where the owner's grandmother is still in the kitchen. It has rental prices that won't make you question all your life choices. And it has that slower, deeper, more genuinely quality that most people are actually searching for when they picture a life in the Mediterranean sun. So today, we're going off the beaten path in the best possible way. We're talking about the cities across Southern Europe that deserve your attention, the ones that are still operating at a human scale, still affordable, still soulful, and we're going to make the case, city by city, for why one of these places might just be your next chapter. Whether you're a digital nomad with a laptop and a dream, a retiree ready to stretch a pension further than you thought possible, or someone who's simply exhausted by the idea of another year in an overpriced city that doesn't love you back, this one's for you. Let's get into it. The Iberian secret, Valencia, Spain. We're starting in Spain, but we're not stopping in Barcelona or Madrid. Both are incredible cities, don't get me wrong, but they come with a price tag and a pace of life that, for a lot of people, defeats the whole purpose of moving to Southern Europe in the first place. Instead, we're heading to Valencia, and if you haven't put this city on your radar yet, consider this your wake-up call. Valencia is Spain's third largest city, which means it has everything you'd expect from a major European urban center: great transport link, a thriving art scene, excellent universities, proper infrastructure, and a diverse cosmopolitan population. But unlike Barcelona or Madrid, Valencia hasn't been priced into the stratosphere, at least not yet. The cost of living here still runs meaningfully lower than Spain's top two, and the gap becomes even more dramatic when you compare it to cities like London, Amsterdam, or Paris. A one-bedroom apartment in a great neighborhood can be found for a fraction of what you'd pay in almost any comparable Western European city. Dinner at a proper sit-down restaurant, not a tourist trap, a real local place, might set you back less than you'd spend on a sad lunch elsewhere. But here's where Valencia really starts to pull ahead. The lifestyle is extraordinary. The city sits right on the Mediterranean coast, meaning the beach is never more than a tram ride away. Not a mediocre beach either. A wide, long stretch of golden sand with warm, clear water for most of the year. The climate here is genuinely one of the best in all of Europe, with well over 300 days of sunshine annually, and winters so mild, you'll be sitting outside in a light jacket in January. People who move here often say the same thing. They can't believe they waited so long. Then there's the food. Valencia is, unbelievably, the birthplace of paella, and the city takes this with enormous civic pride. But the culinary scene stretches far beyond its most famous export. The Mercado Central, one of the most beautiful covered markets in all of Europe, a stunning early 20th century structure with a stained glass dome, is a daily destination for locals, not a tourist attraction. We'll find fresh produce, seafood, cheeses, cured meats, and all the raw material for an exceptionally good life. And the local tradition of eating lunch as the main meal, often stretched across a couple of hours with good company, is one of those cultural habits that sneaks up on you, and then you simply cannot imagine life without it. Culturally, Valencia absolutely punches above its weight. The city of arts and sciences, a futuristic complex of museums, an opera house, an IMAX theater, and an oceanarium, all designed by Santiago Calatrava, is one of the most architecturally striking spaces in Europe, because once it does, prices will follow. The old town El Carmen has a creative, bohemian energy, full of independent galleries, vintage shops, and bars, where the drinks are good and the conversations go late. And once a year, the city transforms entirely for Las Fallas, an explosion of fire, fireworks, and enormous satirical sculptures that's unlike anything else on the planet. UNESCO listed it as a piece of intangible cultural heritage, and if you've ever witnessed it in person, you'll understand exactly why. Valencia is also becoming genuinely popular with the international remote work community, which is both an opportunity and potentially a warning. The city is on people's radars now, in a way it wasn't 5 years ago. The time to move here, or at least to seriously explore it, is before the wave breaks fully, because once it does, prices will follow. The Mediterranean Whisper. Matera, Italy. From Spain, we're crossing the Mediterranean and heading deep into the south of Italy to a place that is almost impossible to describe adequately without sounding like you're exaggerating. Matera. If you haven't heard of it, you're about to understand why people who visit rarely stop talking about it. And if you have heard of it, you probably already know that it occupies a category all its own. Matera is one of the oldest continuously inhabited cities on Earth. We're talking about a place where people have been actually living, cooking meals, raising children, going about their lives for at least 9,000 years. The city is built into and around a series of deep ravines called gravine, carved into the limestone plateau of Basilicata. And for thousands of years, Matera's residents lived in sassy, cave dwellings cut directly into the rock, layered one on top of another, up the hillsides in a way that blurs the line between architecture and geology. Walking through the sassy districts today is one of the most genuinely surreal and magnificent experiences Southern Europe has to offer. It's ancient and immediate all at once. Now, this isn't a place for everyone. Matera is relatively small, and while it has grown significantly in profile since it was named a European Capital of Culture in 2019, it remains unhurried and somewhat remote by Italian standards. Getting here from Rome or Naples takes a few hours. The infrastructure, while improving, doesn't match what you'd find in a northern Italian city. But that's precisely the point. The people who choose Matera, and there is a small but growing community of people who have chosen it, including international arrivals and returning southern Italians, are choosing it precisely because it isn't like everywhere else. It offers something that no amount of money can manufacture: depth, a genuine, felt sense of time and place that a city built yesterday simply cannot replicate. The cost of living in Matera and the broader Basilicata region is among the lowest in the entire European Union. Property prices are startlingly affordable, and the Italian government's various incentive programs for repopulating southern Italian towns, the famous Euro house schemes, tax incentives for relocation, grants for renovation, have made this corner of Italy increasingly attractive to people looking to put down roots somewhere meaningful. Some of the sassy houses themselves, now reimagined as boutique guest houses and private residences, offer a quality of living environment that is simply not available anywhere else at any price. The food culture in this part of Italy is fierce and proud. Basilicata's cuisine is built on simple, honest ingredients: handmade pasta, local cheeses, cured meats, the deeply complex flavors of the pepperoni cruschi, which are sun-dried sweet peppers that have become something of a regional emblem, and Aglianico del Vulture, the region's signature red wine, is one of Italy's great undersung bottles. Made from ancient vines grown in volcanic soil with a depth and structure that can rival anything produced further north, Matera sits in a landscape of extraordinary beauty. The ravines, the bare hills, the light at golden hour on the stone is the kind of thing that changes the way you see the world. And for those who want it, the coast isn't impossibly far. Both the Ionian Sea and the Tyrrhenian coast are reachable, but Matera's pull is inland, ancient, and absolutely singular. The Adriatic allure, Kotor, Montenegro. Now let's move east across the water to a region that for a long time was largely overlooked by the international lifestyle crowd, the Balkans. That perception has been shifting, and one of the cities leading the change is Kotor, a UNESCO-listed medieval walled city tucked into the deepest bay in southern Europe, in the small nation of Montenegro. Kotor's setting alone is enough to take your breath away, and that's not a figure of speech. The city sits at the far end of the Bay of Kotor, which cuts inland from the Adriatic in a series of dramatic twists, surrounded by steep, forested limestone mountains that plunge directly into the deep blue water. The visual effect, particularly arriving by boat, is one of the most dramatic in all of Europe. The walled, old city, compact, perfectly preserved, utterly charming, contains a maze of medieval streets, Venetian palaces, Baroque churches, and stone piazzas where cats lounge in the sun with a proprietary ease that suggests they've been running this city far longer than any human government. Montenegro is small, one of the smallest countries in Europe, and Kotor, while its most visited city, remains genuinely livable in a way that many similar destinations have long since ceased to be. The Bay Area offers a range of accommodation options at prices that still compare very favorably with anywhere in Western Europe. The cost of dining, groceries, and daily life is meaningfully lower than EU countries, and Montenegro, while not yet in the EU, is in active accession talk, which has long-term implications for property values and infrastructure investment that are worth understanding if you're thinking about a move. What makes Kotor particularly interesting as a place to live rather than just to visit is the cultural depth that comes from being at a genuine crossroads. Montenegro's history has been shaped by Venetian rule, Ottoman pressure, Austro-Hungarian influence, and the complex dynamics of the former Yugoslav state, and all of that is visible and felt in the architecture, the cuisine, the language, and the way people carry themselves. The Venetian influence in particular is striking. The old city has a clearly Venetian architectural DNA, from the Romanesque churches to the stone loggias, and for anyone who loves Italian culture but can't stomach Italian prices, Montenegro offers an extraordinary alternative. The outdoor lifestyle here is one of the most spectacular in the region. The Bay of Kotor offers sailing, kayaking, and swimming in remarkable conditions. The mountains behind the city, Lovćen in particular, offer hiking and even skiing in winter, with the national park making for extraordinary day trips. And the nearby coast, both within Montenegro and spilling into Croatia to the north, offers some of the finest beaches in the Mediterranean. For a small country, the variety and density of what's on offer is genuinely surprising. One honest caveat: Kotor is not immune to the tourism surge that has been reshaping the Adriatic. In peak summer, the old city gets crowded. The key for residents is learning the rhythms of the place, understanding when to be in the old city and when to retreat to the quieter villages of the bay, or to head up into the mountains. For those who figure this out, Kotor offers a very special life indeed. The island escape? Crete? Greece? The word island in the context of Mediterranean travel has become almost synonymous with something transient, a holiday, a 2-week escape, a background for photographs. But Crete is something quite different, and it's important to make that case clearly, because dismissing it as a tourist island is one of the great misreads available to the person planning a southern European life. Crete is the largest of the Greek islands and, in many respects, a world unto itself. It is big enough and diverse enough to contain multitudes. The cosmopolitan bustle of Heraklion, the capital, the refined Venetian elegance of Chania, the rugged mountain-locked villages of the interior, the dramatically beautiful southern coast where the White Mountains descend almost directly into the Libyan Sea. It is an island with its own distinct identity, its own dialect, its own extraordinarily powerful sense of cultural pride, and a history that stretches back to the Minoans, the Bronze Age civilization that built the first palaces in Europe at Knossos more than 4,000 years ago. For those who choose to live here, and a significant number of Europeans, as well as an increasing number of people from further afield, have done exactly that. Crete offers a quality of life that is difficult to rival. The climate is exceptional even by Greek standard. The island's southerly latitude means winters are genuinely mild, springs bloom early and beautifully, and the summer heat, while real, is often moderated by the meltemi winds that sweep across the Aegean. It is the kind of climate where outdoor living isn't a seasonal luxury, but a year-round practice. The food culture of Crete has received serious academic and gastronomic attention for decades, and for good reason. The Cretan diet, a particular expression of the Mediterranean diet, rich in olive oil, vegetables, legumes, wild herbs, and fresh seafood, has been associated in multiple long-term studies with exceptional longevity and health outcomes. But beyond the nutritional story, the food is simply magnificent. Local olive oil is some of the finest produced anywhere in the world. Cheeses like Graviera and Mizithra are local institutions. Lamb raised in the mountain pastures and cooked slowly with wild herbs is the kind of thing that recalibrates your understanding of what food can be. The cost of living on Crete varies considerably depending on where you are. The resort areas in the north and east of the island, fully absorbed into the tourism economy, can be expensive and feel seasonal in ways that are disorienting. But move inland, or to the western end of the island, or down to the quieter villages of the south coast, and a very different picture emerges, one of genuine affordability, strong community, and a pace of life that has not been entirely reshaped by tourism. For someone willing to explore beyond the obvious, Crete offers a depth of living experience that is genuinely rare. One more thing worth saying about Crete: it is not small. It is 5 times the size of Corfu. It has proper hospitals, a major university, significant road infrastructure, and multiple airports. It is a real place for real life, not a postcard that falls apart when you look behind it. The inland oasis, Évora, Portugal. Everyone talks about Porto. Everyone talks about Lisbon. Both are wonderful cities, and both have seen their costs rise sharply as a result of precisely the attention they've been getting over the past decade. But if you want the Portugal that actually delivers on the promise, deep history, extraordinary food, warm people, beautiful surroundings, and prices that haven't gone fully insane yet, then you need to point your compass inland to the Alentejo region, and specifically to its quiet, white-walled capital, Évora. Évora is a UNESCO World Heritage City. The entire historic center is listed, which tells you something about the density of what's packed into its walls. The city is small, with a population of around 50 to 60,000, and it sits in the rolling, cork oak-studded plains of the Alentejo at a gentle altitude that gives it clean air and spectacular light. At the center of the old town stands a Roman temple, a remarkably intact set of Corinthian columns, dating to the 1st or 2nd century AD, that you can walk up to, touch, and then sit near at a cafe and have a coffee. No queue, no timed entry, just the remnants of an empire and your espresso. The old town is a labyrinth of whitewashed medieval streets, often bordered by tiles in that distinctly Portuguese azulejo blue, punctuated by Moorish arches, Renaissance fountains, and the monumental university founded in 1559, one of the oldest in the Iberian Peninsula. Walking these streets, particularly in the morning before the heat sets in, or in the golden light of early evening, is an experience of unhurried European beauty that is genuinely rare at this price point. Évora has not been overrun. It receives visitors. It would be wrong to pretend otherwise, but it has maintained its identity as a working, living city. The Alentejo is one of the great food regions of the world, and Évora sits squarely in its heart. The cuisine here is built around cork oak forests and the black Iberian pig that grazes beneath them. Pork, in all its forms, dominates the table, along with game, freshwater fish, and a dizzying variety of bread-based dishes called migas and assordas that speak to a tradition of using everything and wasting nothing. The wines of the Alentejo have been attracting international attention for years now, with several producers operating at a quality level that rivals the best of the Douro or even internationally renowned regions, often at prices that seem almost too good to be true. For digital nomads and remote workers, Évora is increasingly practical. Fiber internet has reached the city. There are co-working spaces, a growing community of international residents, and the proximity to Lisbon, just over an hour by express bus or car, means access to a major international airport when you need it. The cost of renting or buying property in Évora remains significantly lower than in the coastal cities, and the city offers something that coastal cities increasingly cannot: a genuine sense of space, quiet, and belonging to a real community that exists beyond the tourism economy. There is also something about the light and the landscape of the Alentejo that affects people powerfully. The plains are enormous, the sky is a presence rather than a backdrop, and the horizontal drama of golden cereal fields or olive groves, or the distinctive silver green of cork oaks stretching in every direction, has a meditative quality that people who move here often describe as transformative. It is the kind of place that slows you down, not through a lack of things to do, but through an abundance of reasons to simply be. So here's what I'll leave you with. Somewhere in southern Europe right now, the light is doing something extraordinary. It's hitting the stone walls of a medieval street at exactly the right angle, or it's laying itself across the surface of an impossibly blue bay, or it's pouring through the window of a cafe where someone is eating a late breakfast with absolutely no intention of rushing. And that scene, that quiet, unhurried, genuinely beautiful scene, isn't a holiday. It's a Tuesday. It's just someone's life. That life is available. It is not a fantasy reserved for the wealthy, or the retired, or the impossibly lucky. It is a choice, a real, practical, achievable choice that more people are making every single year. And the only question worth asking, honestly, is whether you're the kind of person who waits until something becomes obvious before you reach for it, or whether you're the kind of person who goes looking before the crowd arrives. If you've watched this far, I already have a feeling I know the answer. These cities are waiting. The question is whether you are.